Nice one.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we need a motion to approve the minutes of the November 8th meeting.
Make a motion to approve minutes November 8th meeting.
Second.
Okay, we need a motion to approve the December docket and the allowance docket.
I'll make a motion to accept the docket.
I'll second it.
Are there any questions on the docket or any of the claims?
Skip over this. Okay.
She's not sure yet.
Okay.
Okay, appointment reports. Anybody? Okay, department reports. Jerry?
Yeah, we ordered some new street signs the other day, just to finish out one account. We had our street signs was looking pretty shabby, so ordered some new street signs. If anybody, you guys would like to take a look at what we end up getting or ordering. Also added some stop signs and some speed limit signs to what we did. So.
Do you have the signs that you're gonna replace, stop signs?
I've got quite a few.
I know
I
there's one
should be able to
down,
replace.
there's one down by, I know Mark on the hill.
There's one by Mark, there's one up on Washington, and I think Ohio, that needs to be replaced.
That's the only one I saw, I just didn't know.
And then there's a couple hallways I think we need to replace also. But I think I've got enough to just about replace all the speed limits too.
How about, did we have enough money to maybe do the Camden signs?
I didn't know what, I don't know, I'll have to get with her. And I don't know what you guys really want, so, you
I'm
know.
not sure either.
Are
But
you
I like
thinking the Camden sign was the promotional?
No,
That's
the
the
little,
first
the
time.
little green one.
Okay.
Oh,
See,
yeah,
these,
like,
we're
these are
changing all
blue.
these to blue and white, and I thought,
Did you get
when
one?
I come into town, I seen the green one, I thought, we should have looked about changing that one, so.
Okay, how many are there?
4. 4?
No, 4 entrances.
Yeah.
Is there a
Yeah.
Camden sign on 50?
I don't know if there's one still on Water Street.
I don't think there is.
Technically 6.
No, I don't think there, I think
There
there
ain't
ain't
one
one
coming in water?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Not
One done by the
speed
church
limit.
back way coming.
One coming in the backside of town too.
Oh,
Technically. Used to be 7, but we shut
There's
them
like
off.
6 streets.
okay, do we
Well, I
open
was a kid, there was
this?
7.
I don't know, Jerry had.
No, wait a minute.
What was that?
You got anything else?
We did have, first we had to replace, we went ahead and replaced the back tires on the dump truck. We blew the belt on the one and the other one wasn't looking the best. Of course, there's 4 on the back, so we went ahead and replaced 4 tires on the back of that. We also had an issue with the salt box, and I had it out to Oilers and got it back yesterday. We'd had a couple bearings bad on it, had them replaced. In the meantime, we put the plow back on the put the plow on the truck yesterday when we got it back. Blew the hydraulic hose. I clear up underneath the cab, so I took it back out, but we got it back today and got it loaded back up, got it loaded up with salt now. So I haven't put the plow on, but that'll take a couple minutes.
Where are we at with getting a repair on the truck done for spring? Have you went and talked to the guy yet?
I talked to him, and of course I've got a price on repairing it. Of course that didn't include paint. And of course the way the budget looked, it didn't look like we could really carry anything over. So it really doesn't matter till spring. But you know, I'm wondering as close, the price it is, I don't remember right now, it was over $3,000.
Yeah, I don't have so many numbers.
I
can't
think
remember.
I will probably, at the same time, I'll probably compare price when we do that to maybe even replace the bed. I don't know, see how close we are.
Right.
Time you get done messing with prep work.
If the new
it
bed
might
includes
be,
that
yeah,
back, the light bracket and everything, and that's something to look at.
it might be easier, yeah.
Done with your leaf pick, you're done with the leaf pickup now?
We picked one pile up today. We've been using the pickup truck a little
Right.
bit. We're about gonna have to put it up, get it cleaned up, put it up, and get stuff moved around because we put the pickup truck with the plow on it in the back community building tonight. Just in case we need it or something. And of course, we gotta kinda keep it out of there part of the time.
Yeah.
So. But, with the back truck we've got now, we're a lot less space. Bench, I will need to do some work on it, with minor, like carburetor work. There's a small fuel leak on it, but, we still don't have, we've used it 3 times now, just mainly back to the wastewater plant, so, it's.
Almost paid for itself.
Yeah, pretty much, so.
Good, glad to hear that.
Alright,
That's it.
okay, we'll open, bids for the street and the community. We got one. Central paving. Camden. Okay, they got all the streets separate. Smitty.
We should have a total in the bottom.
Total is $175,695.
What was our budget for that?
141 something.
It was 193,000 is what you had when you add your grant to your 25%,
Oh, okay.
so he came under.
And we
So
also
he's,
have the cement
Oh,
work yet.
yes,
Doesn't
yes.
say-
So this plus the cement work?
Yeah, you have the cement work.
Okay, let's see.
How much does that leave for cement? I know that's what you're figuring.
Just a second. Yeah, leave $16,305 for cement.
12,726 under budget.
Okay, you want to take this under advisement?
Yep, let's take these under advisement.
Make a motion to take them under advisement.
I'll second that.
Okay.
What was the,
12,726.
thank you.
And that was ABC concrete.
Yeah.
And that's doing all the,
That's doing the 16 that we contract.
1588, isn't it?
16.
It says
Six.
15.
I thought we were doing 16 on the list.
The
We
state
have-
highway came in and put them all in there.
Oh, that takes off,
Yeah, that takes off a
Central
bunch of.
paving was the other
Yeah.
asphalt.
okay. I forgot.
Yeah, central paving is asphalt.
Yeah, the state who doesn't maintain sidewalks can.
I think that number might be wrong, but.
Okay, typo.
I'm pretty, yeah.
Some of the sidewalks they replaced are
So you think it is 6?
next to it.
Yeah, I'm really sure it's 16, because me and drove around. Okay, you got the concrete done, okay, Ken, storm sewer project,
The town got a grant back in October for storm sewer improvements. The town has 8 months to complete design, which means we have to have it under bid and completed design and bid by May 31st. So we're well ahead of that. We have about half of the project design right now. plus the easements we've obtained from the Christian church over on Monroe Street. And we need to identify some more underground utilities and some other options for where the final outfall is gonna be, but we're still within the terms of the grant, and we'll just wanna make sure we stay within the terms of the grant, so we still have another month or so before we will complete design, and we'll update you in January.
Okay. Pat?
That's it?
That's all I've got.
Okay. I have an additional appropriation for the village post office. We are selling a few more stamps than what we anticipated, so I bought a few more. We've got plenty of money to cover it, and I'm requesting $400 in additional appropriation.
Make a motion, additional appropriation of $400.
I'll second.
And I will need signatures on this resolution. And I'll get that sent in tomorrow because that's the last day they will consider additional appropriations at the state. It's not a reviewed budget, it's just something that they look at and give you okay.
Okay, you guys have got your agreement for the shooting range. You look over it.
I haven't got it, I didn't get the mail.
Okay.
The only changes in what we had from the original one was that there's a statement in here about the shooting range could not be used on Sundays and that it cannot be used during the hunting season, November 15th through December 31st. Everything else in the agreement is like considered the original agreement. And you've taken the two that was with the original ones had the county on a separate agreement and then the local.
Combine them all in one.
Yeah.
And we updated who would sign that too.
Yeah, that's probably the purpose of doing is get a few
Yeah.
signatures.
Is this, we said this was gonna be a yearly or 2-year thing?
It says in here it'll be reviewed yearly.
Yearly.
Yeah, but it doesn't say you necessarily make changes, but it would be subject to review.
Yeah, and I think that's just good policy, we send it to them each year.
Oh, yeah.
Refresh them what the rules are.
We dropped the ball on that years ago, so it's time
Who's the agreement between?
It would be, shows between the sheriff's department and then Burlington, Camden, of course, would be a part of it, and Flora, because they have police departments that use our shooting range for training. Yeah, city government.
Then we have a separate one for 4-H.
Okay.
to. Okay, so we're gonna table this, or you wanna okay it and go around and get it signed?
I'm good with it, we discussed those two options, so.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Okay.
Now, do you want me to send duplicates of these to each of the entities? And, you know, they can be signed in counterpart, and they're all the same.
I think what I talked to John Chapman about is me and him's gonna go around.
Oh, take
and
around,
Take
okay.
him around and get it all signed, and then we'll
All right.
get you a copy and.
Okay, if there's anything that you need me to do, though, so, you know, like send
You
it to
just
them, let
sign
me
right
know.
there, and then I'll fill it, type the rest in. And
Okay.
is John going to be your local law enforcement?
Yes,
Sign on this?
I guess, yeah, as of right now.
Whose name should I put on?
That's fine, you push on.
Okay.
Okay, appointments that are needed to be made.
You don't have to act on this tonight, I'm just giving, you have a list of the ones that's expiring and the end of this year. So your first meeting in January, you'll want to act on those.
Okay.
Mark is going off of EDC. Joria Leahy is on for the town, and her term does go up expires at the end of the year, so she'll need to be considered. And then Ellen is willing to serve in place of Bob McCain on the E911. And then Andy's doing the emergency management and curbsy, so those are both at law, so they were 1-year terms. And then just reaffirm Pete and Connie on the rail commission.
Is Connie also on the EDC?
She is, but her term's not up.
Okay.
Unless you've got something,
No.
okay.
My turn's not up.
Okay.
Okay, so
Sounds
just,
like an offer, maybe if you wanted it to be.
No, I'm enjoying it, I'm learning a lot.
so just know that that will be discussed.
Okay,
Because I
so
wish I had that
January, we're gonna
Mhm.
do that, okay.
Right. The Med Center requested that there be some spaces designated reserved for the Med Center and also one marked for handicap parking. When we had the auction in here, Linda was actually going out and asking people to move cars because her patients didn't have any place to park. So she's requested signs, up to you guys.
I mean, I don't think they need a place to park, you know, we don't have that many get-togethers, but especially handicap, they need something. I think that's a good idea.
Problem's gonna be is, do we have law enforcement when that's going on?
Right.
Well, I
During
can
those
put the
hours,
signs-
and it, you know,
yeah.
it's very rare. I mean, we have a few events at the
Right.
community building.
I'd say we're in a
I would almost like to see, when we know we're gonna have an event, have temporary signs put up, maybe like they do.
If you wanted signs put up, they could go on the east side of that building and just reserve 3 of those spots.
That's another option too. I didn't think about between the old barber
That's-
shop and, or the insurance building.
insurance in there.
Yeah.
That's where I was thinking of, not on the street, on the.
That's
in the
not
lot.
street access either, so I mean, that would,
Right. It's
And a
actually-
handicap could get right around.
if you go down to Teresa's and stuff along the post office, I mean, people park there at night, but it's marked during the day for business hours for the post office.
we can
Could you
use
put a
that.
handicap in on the west side, right there in that one area? Just one spot?
Yeah, well, it'd be the east side, right there. The first spot would be handicapped.
Why don't we have Jerry do an evaluation, come back with a recommendation in January?
Okay.
You mind doing that?
What, am I an expert?
You go
Yeah.
read your ADA.
You're the first.
We're gonna keep getting the needs, see which way is easier to
You're the
go.
closest to handicap we got.
I'm probably right there.
I
Jim,
think it's difficult.
I did say that.
That's all right, I can hear it.
the year-end meeting is December 20th at 6 o'clock here. Would you want to make that in the town office instead?
We can.
Can we do that, make a town office? Okay,
December 20th at 6.
yeah.
I
And
mean, that's advertised at that time, is that what?
it will be posted. We don't have to, I don't think we have to sign
I know
something.
if we're available, we do it during the day sometimes, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Are you guys available December 20th during the day?
I'll know on the 20th.
Okay, but you know you're available probably in the evening?
No.
You don't know?
I'll know on the 20th.
Okay.
Leave it on the evening.
Okay.
I've got
In
vacation I gotta take before the end of the year.
In 2018, are you going to leave your meetings the second Wednesday of the month?
As
Okay.
far as I know, right, Brent?
Yeah, that's fine.
And it's a good idea to have it like an organizational meeting where you set your goals and objectives for the year. We've done that for the past several years. Do you have a date that you'd like to consider doing that, or do you want to discuss that more at your year-end meeting?
Yeah, let's think it over and do it on the 20th.
Discuss it
Set
on
the
the
date
board.
on the 20th.
Okay. That's all I have.
Okay. Utility adjustment request. Disputed ordinance violations. Is this the time we gotta ask Anna, she'll get back here a letter?
Yes. Which one is two?
I'll get you the name and address.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Send them a letter. For what? Well, they've not only got trash in their yard, now they're slinging it over the fence on us, so.
We got a camera to see that.
Well, I know, that's what I said. But they burned the mattress and then threw the.
That's what they did with the mattress?
No, with what was left of the metal, slung it over the fence, and there's an aquarium, there's all kinds of just trash back there. And then you don't wanna go back there, Jerry don't wanna pick it up, cause
Well,
there's
no.
a dog, there's a slat tore, and they got the
I'm not
dog
worried that
tore
dog.
up there, and he stuck his head through there.
I saw that.
Didn't see the head through the fence.
That's
Okay,
what hammers are for.
public comments,
Big one.
Ron, you're up.
It's a big one.
Okay, thank you. Actually, a month ago, on November 12th, 13th, time span, I approached each one of the board members about possible helping us on a dry hydrant. It is, my estimate was a little off. We went with the old estimate. I've got one today for all the pipes, all the dry hydrant system, the whole bit. Comes out to $815. This dry hydrant would benefit the town far more than it was the town. The township's not gonna use it technically. We're gonna use it for the town. You are close to town, you're looking at the ISO rating, and you always want to make it look better, so we actually have a water source that is readily available. It can get us significant water for a long period of time and quick access to it. We carry just approximately enough hose to get from the pond to the four-way stop right now on one truck. We can go, and I have all the distances figured out here, but I can bring that pond up to this corner, four-way stop, anywhere, and push it on both of our large buildings, and then we'd be within the first half hour of the situation, which by then will be taxing your water tower something fierce. It would go as an alternative water source for your ISO rating. We approached the idea of us putting money into it, and it hasn't went down real well yet. But we will put the labor out. I'm working the backhoes right now, and if we use an excavator, it's approximately $1,000 an hour, so that's probably going to get thrown out. I've got two more supposed to call me. We also have backhoes that are around $100 an hour. We figured it'd be approximately 2 hours worth of work. The excavator would be a smart way because it's got a better reach and can get out on the pond and be less distance from the pond. We're going to run 80 feet away from that pond. And if you want to clarify why, it's real simple. That was dug with a drag crane. They dragged it straight up. And that's all gravel down there. Years ago when the little trucks would pump 500 gallons a minute, they didn't weigh much. But when you got something down there pumping 1,500 to 2,000 gallons a minute, it rocks when it's pumping. And the last thing you want to do is stand there and watch the ground start cracking on the right-hand side of the truck because it's too late then to move it. So we stay away from that pond. Leonard finally agreed again right now to let us do it. It would have to be a signed contract with him. And if the town would go along with it, I would probably talk to Ann just a little bit about, I have them, but some of them get real technical, some of them get real vague. I like to stay on the vague side of it, but it's all there, it's easy to pull off the internet. But we would retain the rights to it, retain ownership to it. You have to give us 90-day of frost-free weather to get it out, if you decide to make us move it. There is also one out there that we retain the rights regardless of what he does with that ground down there. So there's a lot of ways to solve that. Eric, this is in my ballpark. I'm the one that's pushing this. They agree with it, but they don't really want to put a lot of money in it because if we're within 300 feet of town, we're going to use your hydrant-filled truck.
Right.
But this is basically, we had this year, the tower was going to be approximately 2 weeks down, and it turned out to be quite a bit longer than that. We were fine with our water source here in town, except for something major. The other thing is, like a week ago when the railroad was shut down out there, and we had a problem with Anderson's, we became the fast water source. You don't want to pump that water for 4 or 5 days nonstop because it costs you a lot of money to filter it, costs you a lot of money to use your water. We could be pulling off that one just the same. It's a pretty good win situation for us, I believe. We are at a class 4 now on ISO, and that, in the United States, that's 17% of all fire departments are class 4. We look to be into class 3 the next time we go. That will be unheard of for a town this size to be a class 3.
You're saying the township wouldn't use that dry hydrant? So if Little Fawn catches on fire and the tower's down, you wouldn't go use that? Is that what you're saying?
On Little Fawns, right now, with what they have out there, we wouldn't need that kind of water, no.
They were building a lumberyard.
I know, we haven't got into that.
You wouldn't need any water. That would be just for the town only, is that what you're saying? So if Anderson caught fire and you couldn't get down, you wouldn't go use that, is that what you're telling me?
Well, we could if we had to, but it don't benefit us like it would you. The ones at Deer Creek benefit us quite a bit. I have 2 of them at Deer Creek.
Right.
They benefit me a lot more than what this one will. The odds of using this, even for the town of Camden, is going to be slim to none. But if you want to justify it, just like Jerry talked about your snow plow over here. You can't justify that plow most of the year because you don't use it. But when you need it, you justify it. It's like the farmer, can't justify that combine sitting in the garage for what they paid for it until it's time to use it. Then you can't justify not having one.
So
Our fire trucks are the same way.
going from a class 4 to class 3, how much does that affect the rate owner's insurance?
We would have to talk to your insurance. I know it does jump it, but I think you look at,
I'd like to know that, and also, I think in the agreement, if there's a major COP fire or something at the Andersons again, that the fire department signs off, instead of using treated water, they'd use that untreated water, instead of putting a tax. You know, that costs us a lot of money to treat that
It
water.
costs you a
We're putting
buck-
on a
ton of
COP
money.
fire.
Exactly right.
see, we're doing the thing down in Delphi right now.
You know.
We don't use Delphi's water. We
I
shut
just
it
think
off and go
makes
straight to
better sense.
pouring.
I mean, you're putting water on it, it doesn't have to be treated.
That's right.
Right. I mean, and we know it catches fire every
And I-
10, 15 years.
Ron, I think it's a good idea, but I think we also need to explore, I mean, the Andersons are, you know, the fire departments in this county have spent thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars to fight their fires, and why they wouldn't do something like that, I have no idea. I mean, $800 to them is nothing, you know.
Well, I do have a application right now, we're working on filling one out for DNR, which the town cannot get, but the township could.
I would sign a thing asking the Andersons to, and Indiana Packers, you know, some of the bigger businesses, because we're gonna fight fires there. I mean, we're gonna do mutual aid, no matter where they're at in the county. And it would benefit them.
$400 each place, I mean, if they kick in a little bit.
Would this qualify for an RME grant, REMC grant?
It may
I-
too.
Oh, yeah,
That's another
it
good
might.
opinion.
I'm not sure it would or would not.
Yeah, because those are not complicated to do.
And they're every quarter.
DNR is not complicated, but it has to be a volunteer fire department, turn that in, and the town of Camden does not consist.
Right.
So, but we'd have to do that
I mean,
through,
we could sign an endorsement if we're backing it too. though,
but
you know.
it's just, I've been working on this for a long time.
I like
Years.
the idea, but I don't discount the idea, I just,
Would they do something like that?
I think they probably would.
But
I don't know.
The Anderson might be helping, I don't think IPC will want to worry about it. They got a contract with the state of Delphi, and
Yeah.
that's
How
their
about the
problem.
community foundation? Do they got anything like that? Do they help you? Let's look
It doesn't hurt to ask.
yeah, I mean,
We'll
let's-
donate 50% of it. Just get her something, how much it's gonna cost, and she'll get to me, and I'll donate 50% of it. If that's all right.
See where we got some of the money.
see, there you go.
You have to get the Andersons
How you get
together
Andersons
after
to
Yeah,
that.
Anderson, did you hear that? Ken said he'd donate half the money if you get him the thing.
Get her something, a paper, what it's gonna cost, and I write the town of Camden check, and they
See if the
donate.
Andersons will match our
There you go.
donation.
Tell, when you go down
See,
there,
you got half the money donated.
We'll go half of it.
Halfway there,
See if they'll match it, thank you.
sure.
The biggest are gonna be the landowner, wouldn't it?
Well, I think we have to be real cautious with that because.
Yeah,
That, you know, this is a great idea, but you're talking with a landowner that flies off the handle.
yeah,
Well, he and
that's
Dean
why
are
I said
good
we'll,
friends now, so.
we'll set up with them, and
Now.
I can give her where it's
I
at,
know.
Today.
because it is,
It's all good.
can get ironclad pretty quick.
Yeah, I just think it'd be in the best interest to make sure you have that documented.
Right, in case it's
Depends on
sold.
what kind of water he's drinking.
Yeah.
And he always wants something. Last time we started doing this,
He got
I had the
three
county
labels.
okay to do it, and then he come up with he had to have a concrete boat ramp, so we stopped that. Now he comes up, he has to have a water test, but I've talked to Jerry and we can pay the water test. Fire department pay that that gets me a hydrant.
It sounds like you're halfway there.
Yep. Halfway there.
And living on a prayer.
And living on a prayer. Sing a bump.
Okay, we got ordinance resolutions, an ordinance on illegal water turn on.
We don't have any ordinance because, I wrote to everybody on November 7th, and it may be that under the statute, there's a person who misapplies entrusted property, which that would be illegal water turn on, is guilty of a Class A misdemeanor. There are certain requirements there. And, I didn't know what you wanted to do about it, and I wasn't sure, since it's a state law, I don't know whether we need an ordinance, but maybe you want a resolution or I don't know. I'm
It would
willing
be
to do what you
enforceable
want,
under
but-
state law. though.
Huh?
It'd be enforceable under state law.
It's a Class A misdemeanor. And what the statute says, a person who misapplies entrusted property of a governmental entity improperly in a manner that the person knows is unlawful, with intent to defraud another person of furnishing electricity, gas, water, or other utility service, avoids a lawful charge for that service by scheme or device, or by tampering with facilities or equipment of the person furnishing the service, commits deception, a Class A misdemeanor, and the penalty is 1 year, to which may be added a fine of $5,000. So if this happens technically, you would make a report, you would say somebody's stealing our water, you know, and then you make a report to the prosecutor, who theoretically makes an investigation and decides what he's gonna do. Now, if you wanna make any type of resolution, you can, but I think that an ordinance would be, you've already got the law here, so I think it just depends on what you wanna do. And it has to be, they have to have done it with intent to defraud, you know, et cetera, et cetera.
Meantime, we turn it on, no, you
So
don't
I'm
have
willing
water.
to do what you want me to do, but I don't know what you, I don't know what you want me to do
It
yet.
doesn't sound like ordinance makes much sense if we've got the law.
Yeah, here it is.
Because once they turn the water on and they know it's off, that's attempted fraud,
Now,
obviously.
now, something you could do if this has become a problem, now, I don't know whether it's a major problem
It's not major yet.
in Camden or not, but you could send a letter and say, this is to notify you that if you're, but you have to do it to the whole town. You're not gonna single out somebody, you know, or I suppose if somebody does it, then you could write a letter, or we could write a letter to them and say, we want you to know that this is a violation of Indiana code, blah, 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 blah. We're gonna give you a chance to pay for the water you've used, or, I mean, I don't know, but you see there are several options you
I
can
mean, you
use,
can't,
rather than just immediately sending it to the prosecutor.
can you
But
single,
it depends on what you wanna do.
you can't single a person out if their water's
Well,
shut off
yes,
and now it's
if
running?
that, if you can't, yes, if that person, you can single that person out. This is Mr. Briggs, this is you've committed a violation of Indiana law such and such.
Right.
You need to repay Camden for the money, for the water, for the usage of the water. If you do it again, we're going to turn it to the prosecutor. If you are going to tell the people in town that some people have been doing this and that this is, we're wanting to notify everybody that it's a violation of law, then you have to notify the whole town.
Gotcha.
Uh-huh. But if there's one single person that does it, then sure, you could write it. But if you're going to try to tell some people, you can't just say,
Right, I get
Mr.
that.
Jones, I want you to know. You have to wait till it happens.
Well, if you have an ordinance
Then
too,
write it.
then you also in an ordinance, you can say that you'd be paying a fine for illegal use of the
So,
water.
you know, whatever anybody tells me, I'm just an employee. Whatever anybody tells me to do, I do.
It's so easy. I don't know. I don't know that you need an ordinance with state law, but, I mean, that's,
The only thing I'm concerned with is if the prosecutor's gonna take it to the next step and will collect
Right.
any funds.
This is what
Or
we have.
if they will,
Mhm.
because of the workload and what they do now, if we have an ordinance, I think that we could enforce a fine, but then it's collecting that fine.
Well, yeah, we could, fine, but if it goes to the prosecutor, it's gonna be under this or not at all.
I got
So-
you.
And if we put a fine on them, the water's shut off probably for non-payment anyway. When they turn it on, we send them a bill for the amount that we know that they use, because they can read the meter. We know what it was when we shut it off, and we know what it was when we
You
shut
mean
it
when
off.
they illegally turn it on, when they illegally turn it on,
Yeah,
okay?
we know what their usage
Yeah,
would
then
be.
we can,
Okay.
So we would collect at that point.
We
what
do.
you're
In
saying.
in other words,
We
what
do.
you're saying is make an ordinance that it's of
Oh.
a penalty or a fine if they do it, and then you got that, and then the rest of it.
I expect though, the problem we're gonna have is if somebody shut it off and they've turned it on themselves to use it, with the intent they're gonna be leaving and leaving it to somebody else.
Well, then we put a lien on the property, or the property owner.
We had this particular place shut off because of non-payment. They went back, turned it on, we found out it was turned back on, so we shut it back off, pulled the meter. And of course, in the meantime, a couple months later, they paid their bill or whatever.
Yeah, that would
And it's back off again. But now, right now, it's still off.
That would be my other option, is pull the meter if we know they're in violation.
The only thing, what I was wanting to know is if we have an ordinance with a fine,
Because,
Okay.
simply because you've done this, that's just, you've done this, so we're gonna fine you for doing this.
okay, can we have it that the water's not turned back on until that fine's paid.
Sure.
Is that legal? To say
Sure.
that, you know, the fine's a part of the bill and the entire bill has to be paid?
Well, then I say we need ordinance in.
Is it, you want me to kind of draft something
So-
and send it around?
So if you say the
Talk
fine is $25, you assess what their past payment was plus the 25, until they pay it, they don't get water.
That's what yes,
Right.
that was my
It's a
thought.
pretty small fine.
I was gonna say,
I'm just throwing it out
Okay.
there. I'm just
That's
saying,
okay.
if it's
Yeah,
25.
well, meter, it's more
200,
expensive, it's more expensive than that.
Or I'm just throwing 20, I'm just saying,
Well, I-
you
I
could
was
tack
just
a
saying
dollar
sample,
amount
yeah.
on it, and if they don't pay it all, they don't get any water.
Just depends on where it's at, you know.
Okay.
Some of them's easier to get to than others.
Okay, now let's presume that I'm the one that has
Some of them
illegally
pop out
done
pretty
this.
quick.
and
Okay.
you're gonna, oh, damn it, excuse me, a fine. You're gonna fine me for doing it, and I move out of town.
You don't know what kind
And
of shit
then
customer site
Brent
is. You
moves
can't break their
in,
space.
and he wants to turn it on, they say, oh, no, we can't turn
Then
it
you
on.
feel like, what do
because
you do?
This is
Right.
fine.
These other, this bad
Yeah.
rigs
And
did
that's what
this.
happened.
That's what Mark was alluding to.
Somebody else is gonna accept the burden.
Mhm. And it could be, if it's a tenant, then it could be the property.
Landlord.
It could be against the owner, he's the owner of the property, but the owner of the property, as we know, is, I don't know about this particular case, but we have a lot of them that move out, you know, leaving.
Well, in this case, the owner was the one that was doing it, but there could be other places where the tenant would do it, so how do we justify
Mhm.
punishing the?
Have we checked with our peers to see what they're doing?
Why don't you let me fiddle around with it and send you all something, and let's talk back and forth
Okay.
about it at the next meeting,
That's
you know.
Don't you own the meter
With some suggestions.
and the meter pit?
Mhm.
And
Or
I'll try
unauthorized-
not- I'll try not to be a bad guy.
Can't authorize the use of that meter pit.
Huh?
You own the meter pit, just like your gate down there, unauthorized personnel. It's a fine, you can't be in there.
Well,
Now, if Jerry justifies it that mine starts leaking, I go out and shut it off to keep the water from coming out of the ground, that's okay, but otherwise, I don't have any business in that meter either to speak of.
Yeah, I think it's a
Not
matter
there,
of
wasn't
the
collect.
issue, a lot of
It's a
people
matter of how to
have
collect it.
business
Yeah.
in,
It's not a
they
matter if they're right
send
or
wiring
wrong,
from
it's,
one place to another.
yeah.
It's just illegal for them being at the store.
It's a matter of collecting without punishing somebody who didn't do it.
I'll have something prepared for you all to look at, and you can discuss at the
Okay.
next meeting.
I like that. Well, thank you.
Okay. And on the illegal dumping of trash, anything more on that, or we're gonna, we want to just table that, not do anything at the time?
yeah, let's just take it.
Just set it aside?
Okay, all right.
Because it
I'll-
ain't- I mean, it's kind of eliminated since we got the
Yeah.
lien or anything out of. Okay, council comments, you guys got anything?
I do. The Masonic Lodge has agreed to bring the tractor pull back to Camden. It'll be July 21st. It'll be called the Wilbur Jones Memorial Tractor Pull. It's gonna start like 8 in the morning, and I'll have more details. We've already met with both associations. They'll start off with the local farmers, it'll be a percentage pull first, and then they'll go to the antique tractors for the cut and uncut tires. They're looking at 400 to 600 hookups, so it'll be a long day.
Mhm.
What was the date of that, please?
July
21st.
21st?
At the park, at the same place.
So, is this in competition with the one that was moved to
No.
Laura?
Not
No, no,
really.
it's not
Still
the
the one
same
that
day.
stayed here?
It's just,
Oh,
we're
okay.
just bringing, we're having we're just not having
We're
the
not having
souped
the,
up tractors and the
yeah, the
trucks.
flamethrowers and the smoke.
And those are,
Right.
is what was done, okay.
Basically,
That'll
they
still
don't-
be the Lions Club tractor pull
Okay.
at Flora.
The Lions Club's kind of going away from the smaller.
Okay.
They're going for the
But we
big
wanted to
ones.
bring the track, it's been the 65th year, I think.
67.
67th year, we've had the tractor pull, and we wanted it back in Camden. So.
And we're gonna try to have softball games and everything with it.
And there won't be any charge, it'll be free like always.
Mhm.
Well, the attendance,
Right.
Concessions,
concessions and everything.
they will not be free.
Anything else? Walnut tree, any news on the scout barn?
No, one guy said he didn't want it, I'm still waiting to hear back from Roland Raybo.
Okay, I got a guy that is interested in, if you want the tree taken down, he'll take it. But if you if you want money for it, then that's a different.
No,
But he said he'd be willing to take it down if
that saves us,
Is he bonded?
it's Brad Dillon.
He probably has to be bonded, I mean, to do the work for town.
It might be, I don't know.
I
If he's
mean,
got
that's what we tell
insurance,
everybody, I think.
He's gotta have
that's-
insurance.
Yeah.
I mean, if he's got insurance and wants a tree, that's what we've been after. I mean, that'd save the cost for moving the tree, $700.
Let's see what it says in insurance.
Yeah,
I thought
that sounds good to me.
I thought we had something that you had to have a bond. What is the rule, Pat?
They just need insurance. I need a certificate of
Up to
insurance.
how high? What's it
Listen,
go?
we don't have anything on it. Oh, just give me a
But I thought we
certificate.
told them on people mowing yards and stuff, they had to have $1 million insurance.
Doesn't matter. But we don't have anything set, we don't have a policy.
Okay.
Just
I just wanna
You
send
can,
this,
you
be
can make a
consistent.
policy if you want.
Well, no, but I think we need to be consistent and send the same message to everybody. We just don't pick and choose who has $100,000 and somebody has $1 million.
Right, where's you got 10
Yeah.
dollars?
Now, I didn't put it bid because I didn't have $1 million while I was told.
So we need to be consistent and discuss that. Let's discuss it at the 20th meeting or.
Yeah.
Or the next January meeting.
I swear, it sounded like somebody's in the library.
Yeah,
That's
something like
exactly
that.
what it sounds like.
So send a woman, guys.
We got much.
Oh, she's the best qualified.
She's on the library.
She's on the library board.
No, she's the best qualified.
If you hear gunfire, head for the head.
That's
Probably
what
her
Gina
phone.
do. Gina say, go see what it is, Connie.
Well, she's the
No, he
closest one.
Probably
Yeah.
her phone.
It's probably borrow Brandon breaking in.
Yeah, probably. I'm looking for my
You guys
lease on it.
open?
That wind might leave the door.
Talking to somebody? Hey, look it up on the
She's real
camera.
trustworthy, she's speaking around the corner.
Look it up on the camera. See?
Goes away, probably.
Yeah. Well, it shouldn't beat the door unless the door's open. Did the door open?
No, it sounded like a whistle or wind howl.
No, it goes beep beep on the
There
door.
was somebody here.
I heard it go to the door.
Yeah, I was like, what the heck?
Okay.
I was actually talking to somebody.
They saw her coming and ran.
Yeah.
See you.
Okay, external hard drive for the Marshall's computer, we talked about it, about maybe getting a new one. I don't know where the budget is as far as anything on that.
Did any of you talk, because they were gonna, your concern was that maybe
Yeah, it's,
the external would be not much less than just getting a new computer.
Computer. I forgot all about that.
Okay, so
I
we're
don't
on that
know.
one.
How, what did we say the old one was? How
I
many
don't
years?
I think they said 12.
Yeah, that's really outdated.
Oh, there you go.
Okay. You on it, Rich?
December
I'll try to remember.
Write it down.
I forgot all about it. I mean,
Okay.
Okay,
I've been doing pretty good.
anything else to come before the board?
Tom, did you have?
Tom?
Yeah, most of you guys know me anyway, but my name's Tom Hetty, and I'm gonna be running for state representative at the 38th district, which covers, this part of Carroll County. This winter I've been spending time going around, school board meetings, town board meetings, fire departments, introducing myself, doing a lot of listening, find out what's going on out here, what people need in rural areas, because that's what 30th district mostly is. So what I hope to do once I'm elected is to set up cohorts, like town board meetings, town boards, school boards, principals, superintendents, and volunteer fire people, EMS, where I can kind of communicate with them while sessions are going on, so that you have a more of a first person type situation going with it. And the most important one is just the average person out here. I want to set up with everywhere they get out emails, hopefully on a daily basis, say, you know, this is what's happening at the courthouse or state house right now. So, you know, give me some feedback, type of deal. So I'm just getting out, meeting a lot of people and beating on doors, and when spring comes, I'm going to be beating on doors. So it's going to be a long summer. So look forward to talking with and working with everybody in here.
So it'll be in the November election.
Yes.
Tom, you were the clerk treasurer when I first.
I was here
When I was first
7
employed
years.
here.
Yeah.
When I was first town attorney.
Yeah, I was there 7 years as clerk treasurer, and then Pat took over after I did, and she's still there.
I'm just up here.
And doing an outstanding job, I do want to say, too. A little nicer facilities though than what we met over there in the office when I was there. So, you guys have any questions or anything?
Do you have a card?
I do.
Good luck
How
to you.
quickly that came out.
I do.
It's prepared. Thank you, sir.
How big is your area you represent inside Carroll County?
Well, it's eastern Carroll County. It doesn't cover Delphi. It's southern Cass
I know
County.
where to find you.
Okay, she's a neighbor. Southern Cass County, eastern most of Clinton County. And, yeah,
Who,
too.
Who does it now, Tom? Who's our?
Heath Van Adder's the incumbent right now. And he's over there just on the west side of Kokomo. So,
It's been some of the third houses.
yeah, yep. So, by all means, you know, if you have any comments or, anything at all that you know, say, you know, check this out, whatever, just email, let me know, or give me a call. And looking forward to it.
Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Good luck. Go ahead.
Steve Pearson, I'm running a little hobby mowing business. I'd like to make an offer to the city to mow the little lot up here, the garden for free. If I can get the water tower for like $15 to $20 a week to take the burden off Jerry and his workers and give them extra time to do stuff. I keep it weed whacked, mowed, looking nice, and whatever you guys decide you need it done.
How much again on the water tower, I'm sorry?
15 to 20, whatever the town can afford. I just,
Well, always 15, if you say 15 to 20.
well, that's fine. I'll do it for 15.
I'll probably give a long time.
Steve, it's, I think you need to submit an offer in writing to us.
Okay.
Just tell us that so we can get it to Pat and then we can discuss it.
Yeah, give us something right.
And you will need insurance.
I have it.
Okay,
Ron's got something.
Ron? Oh.
Yeah, back to mine in just a minute, because I'm not quite clear, but if we decide to write up something, do you want me to go through Ann about, so she can look at the contract we write, or with Mr. Leonard?
Yeah,
I
definitely.
mean, it's not gonna do any good for the town, or Ken Smith and Jackson Town Fire Department to do it when,
I don't know if it'd fall under the town business or it should fall under the township since the fire department's the township fire department. So it is,
Who's your guys' attorney?
who is the township's attorney?
I'm not sure, it's not the same one.
I represent the township and.
There you go.
Well, they go through Ann.
But I want this to be controlled by town council.
Stop the clock on us.
Yeah. Shut the clock off.
It's nice, I do flat fee.
I'm not done yet. I want this to be controlled yet, or be something to do with the town of Camden, because like I told Jerry, in the dead of winter, we're gonna have him out anyway with that plow. All I need to do is put a plow in there long enough to get a fire truck in there, but it's gotta be part of the town involved in it to allow him to even go down there. I mean, I know he's working for us and there's not a big deal there, but again, I'm more concerned about this hydrant. Yeah, you're right, if we need it for the Anderson, fine, but I'm more concerned about this hydrant to be opened up in the wintertime when we need it up here. But
But it's not on town property,
Right, that's right, before I
and
agree.
I think that's going to be an issue. So I've got to double check.
Yeah, the liability wise, if we're on his property and we break something or do something,
Yeah.
we need to make sure we're covered.
Yeah, absolutely.
Go back.
That's my job.
Yeah.
That's your
the
job.
town really doesn't want anything in this.
Who?
You do not want anything to do with this.
We didn't say that.
No, we didn't say that.
We said we
No,
want
I'm
to be
just saying,
protected.
you gotta make sure it's protected.
I ain't gonna go down there and push snow on his property unless he's got me something in writing from an attorney saying. I
Well, that's
can
what
do
I'm
this.
saying.
Yeah.
If you want me to use your attorney as
No, I
part of
want you to
this.
use your township attorney
Right.
to get permission for the town to come on his
Right.
properties.
We gotta make sure we have permission to take our
Because it
town
ain't
truck
nothing
on
on
his
us.
property.
That's out of town, so you can't use us. You've gotta use your attorney to give us permission to go on his property. That's what you
Is
gotta
that right, Ian?
do. The fans, right?
Is the trustee on board?
You ever talked to the township attorney?
We really haven't
Nothing
talked
was
here.
close.
Financially, I don't think there's anything here yet. I do have another source of fund coming, but if Ken's gonna match part of it, we're probably close to it.
Well, I think you're gonna have to go through the proper channels, and the trustees of the fire department, so you're gonna have to talk to the trustee. Because you're dealing between the fire department and the landlord, the property owner. Do you
We can
understand?
have our lawyer talk to their lawyer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
She said she
we'll get a conference call with our lawyer.
And the township lawyer, yeah, that'd be interesting. Get that on film. wouldn't it?
Probably not, probably the same, so I'm not
I
probably.
think he told it Leonard Wood.
Is there a marshal
Jerry might know.
update?
Yeah, nothing new.
Yes, Jerry, you might.
So do we have an acting marshal?
Yeah, John Chapman.
Oh, okay, I thought I guessed
He's not here,
that.
but
I heard that,
That's why we
okay.
didn't get a report.
He's not an active marshal, he's an active deputy marshal.
He has been the deputy marshal for about a year,
So
so.
are you gonna replace the marshal?
We'll find out.
Find out. Gotta wait and see what happens. You gotta go through proper protocols, so that's what we're doing.
Right.
Standing by.
Yep. Anything else to come before the board? Motion to adjourn?
Motion adjourned.
I will second that.
Adjourn.